So I always find something to talk about. And it's an old book that they republished.
We'll go ahead and start the next program, but I was going to mention something. You're related to General Woods, right? You said?
We don't know. My mother was a baker.
I'm sorry, Envy Baker.
I don't know.
Oh.
Didn't know what anybody, they're spread all over. So
we need some more information on it.
before we leave.
It'll be a good project for our genealogy
I was
group.
gonna say,
That means the first Thursday at 7. First Thursday of every month at 7. We'll stick them on it. Our next speaker is Grace Linden, who is the curator of the Sioux City Public Museum.
Retired now.
I was. Just a few years, right? And her program is going to be about dating photos, so I'll let her get started.
All right.
And
thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna stand over here. I hope I'm loud enough for everybody. And are you turning lights? I don't. Yeah, that probably does help, doesn't it?
yeah.
Okay. Well, I just threw some photos up here. Now I can't stand in front of you guys. Can you still hear me though? From here. So I just threw some photos of my family up here, and we do have some daguerreotypes, so you can see up in the upper left corner. But we'll be talking about that. Dating photographs. Go to the next slide. In order to determine the dates, you'll have to be a detective and look at all the clues in the image. If there are people, you get to know their age. But if you don't know their age, that's going to be a problem for dating. But there are other types of clues that we'll be looking at in the outline. Let's go to the outline. So there's 6 different areas I want to talk about. Types of photographic processes, objects, human clues, fashion, family knowledge, and we're up to the digital age. Guess what? There's a lot of digital photos. There are no prints of made yet. They're just on the computer, right? What are we going to do with those in the future? How do we write on the back of a digital photograph? You don't. I mean, it's going to be a problem. Next. Okay, for photographic processes, we've got, believe it or not, they were first put on metal and glass before paper. Okay, next. Some early metal images, daguerreotypes, like I said. So if you have one of these, it is from the year 1839 to 1870. That's pretty early on. So if you've got one and you think it's a later date, well, Grandpa's in it, and he wasn't born until 1890. Maybe it's Grandpa's dad in the daguerreotype because they weren't made after 1870. So things like this you have to be aware of. It's made on a metal plate, but it shines like glass. It's negative and positive, and it's always in a case. Okay, next. There's also tin types. Anybody have tin types of old ancestral photos? They were actually made from 1856 up to the 1930s. So again, this is going to be a little harder. But if Grandpa or Dad or Mom wasn't born until 1950, they're not going to be on a tin type, right? Okay, next. Glass images now. They kind of look like the daguerreotypes, which were metal. This is glass. It's called an ambrotype. And it's an actual negative, but it's got a back, dark backing. So it always looks positive, and it's always in a case. Okay? And we have glass lantern slides. These went all the way up to the 1950s, believe it or not. But I don't think a lot of them were produced then. So it was mostly back around the turn of the century. Paper images. Now look at this. How do you think they made these images? They put the leaf on this blue paper and left it out in the sun. They took the leaf off, and what did they have left? Yeah. So these are called calvotype or calotypes. So if you have something like that. That was from 1841 to 65, so it wasn't very long. And obviously, you're not going to put a face down on that paper. Go lay out in the sun and get a picture of a person. So it was mostly for nature. Okay, next. So the early images, these are called, I am not French, so how do you think? Carte de Viste, something like that. Viste, Carte de Viste. It was from 1854 to 1900. They were used as trading cards. Look at the size. Now, where's my handy little pointer thingy? Look at the size of this. We are talking small. We're talking, these were little guys. Okay, so if you have real little photos at home, they were early on. Okay, next. Then they got bigger. Look at it. They got 4 by 6, so they're a little bigger now, right? 1863, but they've made them all the way up to 1920. So they actually, it is a piece of paper, but it's glued to a back, right? So it's on a board, like. Okay, next. Now, I just wanted to show you the size difference again. This is the carte de Vista, or Vista, and then this is the cabinet cards. And I have seen bigger cards, like 8 by 10s, that the people glued the image right on a big piece of card. But that must be a different thing. I've never found what it's called. Next. Okay, now, they did use this blue paper and make images on it, and they were called cyanotypes from 1841, and they still make them today because architects use them for blueprints. They're blue, right? It helps them. Okay. Next. Anybody have these at home? Seen them in museums or libraries? They're stereographs, but people say stereographs, stereoscopic cards, because they use a stereoscopic viewer to actually look at them. It makes it look 3D, right, when you put them in the viewer. Okay, next. Now, regular paper images that most people have. Did you have yours still here? You can show. It's just a paper. There we go. That they put it on. Well, it's a postcard, so it's a little heavier than, regular paper. But she was asking about the date on this. She had her family history here, and we've already figured it out. So there you go. Just by coming in and talking about it. So paper images from 1880s to the present. But you can see the diversity. These are my family, and my aunts, and my mom and dad, and my brother and I here. So different dates, you're going to find that kind of positive gelatin silver prints, they're called. Okay? And then color from the 1930s on. Basically, 1940s, they really developed it. So there's a 1985 there and a 2010. Okay? And Polaroids. Who has these? I have them. This one actually is from the museum in Sioux City. Gerald was in the hospital here, and his friends came to see him. And looks like they're having a party. But that was from 1948 on. Okay? Now, by knowing the dates of what photographs were produced, you can have a date range to begin with. So I only gave you that to show you that they did change over time, how we actually put images down on glass, metal, or paper. And you do need other clues, though, to find the exact dates. Okay, next. Let's look at objects that are in photographs. What do we got? All kinds of buildings are in the background of photos. There's cars, things like that. Next. Okay, for buildings, I dated these in Sioux City. The City Hall was built in 1897. Was this photo taken in 1897? No. National Bank around 1900. No. The Davidson was 1910. Why wasn't this taken like in 1910? You already know, right? The color. 1930s, right? You're going to remember this. Okay. So you have to know styles, you have to know ages, but if I'd have done this in black and white, I'd have fooled you a little. But what is sitting on the screen? This is online or find this book by Eric Sloan, The Age of Barns, you'll find out the date these were built. Obviously, if it was built in 1920, it can still be there, right, on the farm today? But this is a black and white. Look at this border they used to put on photos. So this is a black and white. There's guys up here redoing the roof or something. Then barns, I'm pretty sure this was put up on, this is my family farm about the 1940s. And that looks fairly new, or you have kept up really nice. So once you know when that barn could be made, then the photograph had to be taken after the date of that barn that was made, okay? Next. And retail businesses, you gotta be real careful with businesses. Here's a sign that says Midwest. Yeah. You look in city directories, if your city has one, to find out when that business was in existence. But guess what? This building is really old, 1900s. But the business was there from 1960 on. So the photo had to be after 1960, right? But there's some other clues. What are they? And this little thing. Yeah, a street vendor. It looks fairly new to me, doesn't it? Wouldn't be from the 1920s. Okay, next. Monuments. Okay, I had to throw these in because Sioux City's always had a problem with the Smithsonian. We have a beef with the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. They took a picture of our Floyd Monument and put it in a book as the Washington Monument. And it's still in that book. Well, how can you change a book? Thousands of them were printed. So look how similar they are. But there are clues also. What's this? Water. Isn't that the reflecting pool at the Washington Monument? Does the Floyd Monument have a reflecting pool? I think so. The Missouri River.
Which way you're looking at it.
Yeah, it's way down below the monument. So you can tell now, right? Which is which, the Floyd or the Washington? The Washington Monument was built in 1848. This one wasn't built until about 1901. Okay. All right. Next. And signs on businesses. Of course, there are business signs here, right? But sometimes these signs last longer than the business itself. So that's the problem you're going to come into. And there's things called ghost signs. Does everybody know what a ghost sign is or have heard that term? It's paint on the side of a building. And guess what? That could have been for the building 3 blocks down. They were just advertising. Ghost signs are just advertising a business, no matter where it is. It might be in a different block, not right there. So people get a little confused about ghost signs. But obviously, got mail pouch there, Dr. Pepper here, and these can last hundreds of years. If they don't repaint them, they become so faded, they look like ghosts, right? Okay, next. And interiors. Now we're getting into it here. We can really date this photo because there's a calendar. There's different style furniture in here, the registers, window dressings, the light fixtures, the men's clothing we could date, and their facial hair we could date. So I looked this up. I can't read this date, this year date down here, okay? So you can go, I thought it was on perpetual calendars, but they're on something called a reverse calendar. If you know that September 15th was a Wednesday, you can go to these reverse calendars that are on the internet and find out that they had them in 86, 97, 1909, 1915, 26. These years, September 15th was on a Wednesday. So then you have to look at the picture. Was it taken in 1886? Was it 1897, 1909, 1915, 1920? Anybody want to take a wild guess at this one?
1915.
These guys have mustaches, remember? What's their? I was going with around 1909 myself. I I just wish I could read this. You know, it's just, I'd have to have a really good scanner and blow it up really big, I guess, and I didn't do that, but I'm saying on 1909.
Are you in the picture back when you had a beard, Ken?
See, we can't date him because of the facial hair, but there were periods where men had it and didn't have it. Really distinctly, yes. Okay, next. And houses, oh my gosh. Furniture, but you know you keep furniture, don't you? You keep it from grandmas and great-grandmas, and so it's hard to date. But again, this is an old piece of furniture, but that's a color photo. So it isn't a picture taken in the 1800s, obviously. So there are many books, websites that you can go to date furniture. If that's all you have to go by to try and date that photo, is once you know that this was built or made in, let's say, 1855, then the photo has to be after 1855, right? It just makes sense. But then you have other clues to go by. It's like color, things like that. What is this? Anybody know this style? Yep. And is there a time period when those were built? Basically. I'm sure somewhere somebody's still making furniture to look like this today, but back in the day, early 1900s, I think, 19-teens. Okay, next. And interior. Please tell me you can tell the difference between these two photographs. But there are a lot of things in homes. Wallpaper, lighting fixtures, entertainment. They might have an old record player or something here. And they might show your home, computers or whatever. But definitely, if people are standing in this picture or in this picture, you can date it, right? You all have that innate quality in you to figure out if it was in the 1800s or the 1900s or the 2000s. Okay, next. Transportation. Now this gets fun. Cars, trucks, farm equipment, all can be dated when they were made, right? Just when they were made. But if the car was made in 1940, it could be in a photo in 1993, right? Not in 1939, right? So you can date it after. So look at this one, guys. What do you think? What era? What time period? And they have hats. And their suits. That is an old photo. It's not a new photo that made it look old. What do you think? 30s? 20s? 30s? How about this vehicle? When was it made? Not when was the photo? I would have said the late 40s maybe. How about this one? That's pretty new, isn't it? So you can just date it by knowing these things. And again, if there's a person standing here, you know it has to be after the date the vehicle was made. But again, you have to have other clues. These are color, so after the 1930s.
They never made it that color at that time.
No, and see, that's been refurbished, obviously.
And
Yes.
that top one,
Yes.
the structure of the building,
There you go.
that doesn't look like old, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Did they make
made
those
it.
kind of
Yep.
beams and everything? I thought it was wood.
It was metal, and they had metal late 1800s, the building, so. Okay, next. And public transportation, we have a photo that has, and I highlighted buses and streetcars here. You can date it. In Sioux City, buses were used after 1948. Streetcars went out in the late 40s, so guess when this photo is? It's gotta be 48 or 49, right? It was gone by 1950. So this is not a 1951 photo, right? You got the concept there, right? Okay. Next. And streets. Oh my, does that look like a street of today? Street materials have changed. We have dirt. There's horse manure on streets, you can tell. There's brick, wood pavers, concrete, and they dated when, and obviously the streetcar too can be dated. Okay, next. Roads. Look at this funny little road. I'm calling it the River Road. There was a road right along the Missouri River called River Road, but actually it was what is today Gordon Drive. So I think it started here but went out to Riverside, way over there, Riverside. But Interstate 29, and I put this red line to show you kind of where the interstate is today, was put in. So, and there's our auditorium, built open 1950. So when is this photo? Got to be after 1950 and before the interstate, which came in the late 50s. You can get it down pretty close. And there's probably a lot of buildings too. If I went to directories, I could find out what buildings were built in the 50s. Okay, next. Okay, human clues. Now we're getting down to people. In Sioux City, if you see anything like parade pictures or things like that, the carnivals were in the 1890s. The Centennial was in 1954. Rivercade was from 64 on. What do you think this is? Was that the Sioux City Centennial picture? Or was it the Rivercade picture? Can you just tell? It is a black and white. It has to be a Sioux City Carnival picture. All right, are we sleeping out there?
We're trying to figure out what the side of it says.
Oh, I'm sorry. W.H. Beck Jeweler. And again, you can look him up in the directories and see when he had a business in Sioux City, and that would date it for you also. How about sporting events? This one particularly had to be, we know it's Trinity High School. They wrote that on the back of the photo. Wasn't that nice?
Yeah.
But they didn't put the date. But guess what? The team only existed 1914 to 1930. We can also look at the buildings, find out when they were there, look at the football uniforms and try to narrow it down a little more. So probably in the 20s, I would say, that was taken. Next. Obviously, uniforms for different military engagements were different. I would hope everybody would know that was from World War I and that was from World War II, right? Everybody knows that? Thanks. Next. Oh, isn't this wonderful? We have a photograph. It's a postcard, obviously, but they sent it. Hey, look at this. We can really date it now. July 4th, 1946. And if you didn't have this, yeah, you could go by the stamp or people, find them, see when they were alive. Okay, next. Oh, this guy. We've got a whole collection at the Sioux City Museum that this guy took. He put, look at this, that it was Tuesday, November 9th, 1943, and on some of these, this guy even put the time of day, like 12:05. Now, who does that? If everybody did that, we wouldn't have this program, because every photo would be dated on the back, except for digital. But look at that, he wrote exactly where he was standing, where he was looking, everything. He was just meticulous. It's a great collection. Next. And prints on photos. Genealogy Studios been there a long, long time in Sioux City. It's one of our oldest businesses in Sioux City.
Where our last picture was taken.
At Genealogy's, yes. And then Hamilton was there in Sioux City for 20 years, maybe 10, 15, 20. So it wasn't that long, and there you can date it then. What year it might have been taken. Next. And then some studios actually date stamp them. But guess what? It'd be the latest date the photos could have been taken. It might not have been processed. It might have been a negative for years and years. How many people had rolls of negatives and they didn't take them in to get printed till 10 years later? So even though it's stamped 1932, the photo could have been taken in 1922. So you can't just go by these stamps. Next. All right. We got lots to talk about fashion. Next. There in Roebuck, if you have old catalogs, you can date things that are being worn by people by looking in old catalogs. Next. And here's some pages. So if a woman is in your photo and she looks like one of these women, you can say it was 1897, right? Pretty close. Or after. It has to be always after. Can't be before, because we don't know if this was a style in 1896, you know. Unless you can find a catalog from 1896. And it's the same dress. Okay, next. For men, what do we look at? We look at the length of their coat, their ties, their hats, their hairstyle, and facial hair. What are we thinking here? Doesn't that look like Grant? That's my great grandpa. So are you thinking 1920s? Yeah. This was probably 1890, 1880. But this guy, look at that neat little hat. It might be 20s even, with that hat. 20s or 30s, yeah. How about this dapper looking?
40s.
Yes. Look at that thin belt. I mean, there were different things, and you can see them in pictures, that different eras of time. Okay, next. Okay, here's image 1 and 2. Compare. Well, obviously this is older. We got that, right? I went to the internet and found this guy. Does it kind of look a lot the coat style? This is called the Regency period, 1800 to 1850. So this guy could have held on to his coat, but it has to be from at least 1850 on, the photograph, right? And how about this hat? I found this one on the internet. Does it look? Yep. Fedora or felt? Okay. And children's fashion. We look at pins for boys, girls, styles, and toys. There I am with my little rattle. Anybody want to guess? Yep. I was born in 52, so there you go. This was my mom and her brother in the 20s. And this is my mom when she was a lot younger, so probably in the late teens. Look at the bows. Next. Bows were popular for girls in the teens. Look at those little bows. So if they have them, that's from the 19-teens. Look at this. Some photographers actually hand-wrote their name, Genealogy, and the year of the photo. Wasn't that nice? Because it was a yearbook photo. And how about these? Anybody remember the rompers from the 40s and 50s little kids would wear? Next. And women, oh my, so much to look at. This is my mom and her sisters. Look at those shoes though that had the little band across the top part of your, what were they called? Mary Jane's. Remember that, Mary Jane shoes? Some of the people. And look at the hairstyles. That's my aunt, and I went and I found, you know, this kind of style. So that had to be taken in the 1920s. Yeah. Okay, here I am. I had to put myself in these pictures just to show you the glasses, how different. This was in the 1960s when I was in high school. Look at those cat-eye glasses, they call them, right? In the 70s when I was in college, look at the wire rims. That was a big thing, right? In the 80s was those big round plastic glasses. And a few years ago, I had wire rims again, but they were kind of rounded, not the squared off kinds like up there. So you can really find decades. And for family knowledge, if you know the name of them, you can date these people. Obviously, this photo, you can ask too. This girl is still living. This boy is. The boy is now 11. So what year is that photo? How old is he? Oh, I'd say between 2 and 3. I think so. I don't know. You don't pick up 4-year-olds, do you? Hold them in your how little they are, I guess.
More like 2.
So if this picture was taken when he was 2, the boy's now 11, that's 9 years ago. So this is around 2009, right? So that's how you do it. Next. Oh, digital. Like I said, I just wanted to throw this in at you. Obviously, you can scan a photo, an old 1800s photo, and make it a digital photo, right? And then it's on your computer, okay? But the actual first photos that came out of a digital camera were 1957, but people didn't really start buying digital cameras till the 80s. Today, even our cell phones are a digital camera. And then the scan prints or reprints are hard to date. Let's go to the next photo. This photo was from a color slide. Believe it or not, it was taken in 1956, but now it's a digital photo, right? Look at this. It shows in the properties. Do you know how to get to the properties of a photo when you're on the computer? You right-click, go down this little pop-up box to the word properties. You click on it, and it says that I created this digital picture on January 26, 2017 at 1:37 in the afternoon. But that doesn't mean that's one that was taken, right? Yes.
But many cameras will, the minute you take a digital photo, might print a date on it too.
Date right on the photo, right. And this one, the file says, and that's because that's when it was taken, not when it was created. So you got to look for these words in the properties. Again, when you go to a photo online, you click right, the properties will come up, click on that, and it'll tell you taken and created. Okay, next. Let's date some. Okay, next. Okay, first one here. The daguerreotypes were from 1839 to 70. When was this photo taken? Click. I wrote it down here. I know that anyway. 1862. Okay, this middle one. Look at her skirt and shoes, and you can hardly see her. What do you think? Click. One. Just click one. There. It was taken about 1940. And the one on the right, what do you think? They were married in 1901, and they're having their golden anniversary. When was this photo taken? Oh, you're just so quick. Click once. There, 1950. Next. Okay, can you date these by decade? Do you think this is 1880, 1890, or 1900? 80. I don't know, so you're helping me. I would think it's pretty early. Okay. How about the middle one? 1900, 1910, or 1920? Look at that big bow. The 19 teens is when they had them, right, in fashion. How about the third one? Is that 1960, 70, or 80? 60. We wore that stuff, right? Some of us. Next. And when was this photo taken? Well, I wrote it on there. Sorry, I didn't hide that. But look at this, what I found online. Look at these hats. Some of them had baskets, feathers, flowers. Oh, what? And that was from 1890 to 1910. And then look at this man's collar. I found that online, 1902 to 1910. So we do know it was 1908, right? Because that's family history telling us. Okay, next. And dating this with a car. Alrighty. Look at this car. I found this one online. It says 1934. So it has to be after 34. License plate, can you read it? I thought I could. 30 something. This little boy, click once. Was born in 36. So how old is he? 2 or 3? So this photo was taken when? 38. There you go. You're getting good. Next. And this picture of our Woodbury County Courthouse was built in 1918. It's a color photo. It has to be after that. And the cars. that's what I'm thinking for this, in the 1960s is when that photo was taken. Whoop, one back. You can usually date a photo to the earliest year because of clothing, furniture, or when vehicles were built. But people keep old clothes, old furniture, old cars for many years. Best way to date a photo is to figure out when the person was born and give them an age in the photograph. Thank you very much. And thank you for bringing a photo. Does anybody else have one they don't have dated?
Some photos have heads.
Well, no, actually, it's either middle.
Oh, you just have one. Oh, yeah, that's
I have no idea what's on there, so I figured if I could
But I didn't just
date it within a decade or something, that would give me a way to give to the people.
That man's bathing.
Yeah, that would.
I have pictures of them, and I've been out there and got it.
Well, that and the ladies' hairstyles and their
Give you an idea.
but, you know, my family, none of them are that big, so it's gotta be a gathering of multiple families, like sisters, brothers, yeah, but I need to kind of brighten it up with
Stand out now. And she has done
Yeah,
yeah.
play with multiple generations and stuff.
As a flamboyant man, he was not.
But if we could figure out what this is, so we could maybe get it.
You gotta do the research on that whole thing.
Thank you.
You want to sign it? Probably did. That's not a exactly.
I'm not really very talented with this.
Yeah. Well, there you go. My grandfather was born in 1909. 2 or 3 years old. Somewhere around there.
Lunch is already in the other room, so if you want to start milling through sandwiches and salad and soup and things, so if you want to start going through.
Photos are fun.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
It was
Very much to look at.
So I went to Sanford, that's the pioneer.
Early years before scanners, we took photos.
So
I have,
It's up to you. I was just gonna put it in now, so I figured rather than say
fast
that you were going
photo
to.
scanner where you just put it in and then grab it,
We may use
just like that. Then I have
Okay.
regular flat where you put the photo.
Well, no, I don't want to put that one of me talking the entire time in there. I didn't realize it was recording my voice when I was setting it up.
I didn't know what the people really wanted to see.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. I'll take a look though.
albums in that we are pretty close to time frame. We know they were World War II. But other than that, they're just.
I would love to get that. I recently got an envelope full from pictures I'd never seen of our family back to the 1850s. Never had seen. And one I think is my great grandpa, but nobody's around to say
And like I said,
nay or yay.
that,
Do we bring our food in here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you've been ready. I think it's just pictures.
it took me 4 years to research the skinny local. I did a lot, online plus going. And like I said, the first part, the part is right, that is the James, I found that on Salt Lake City. Yes, and, so anyway.
I've never seen anybody.
This is just.
Look at these cemeteries, how
beyond.
they were let go. Nature long to reclaim. They were in there. Getting somewhere, yeah.
I have one up there.
But I don't.
If I use it.
I'm just a person. This is my son.
Hi,
Nice to
yeah.
meet you. This is my granddaughter. Hi.
Awesome.
Going to see grandma. This
And he
Dan, this is my son Brian.
Hi, Brian, nice to meet you.
Granddaughter Nicole.
Nice to meet you.
There's no way to get to him.
I'm hungry.
That's
That's it. Don't let her tell you that.
Yeah, I can just imagine that. Because we lived out east for many years in Virginia, and that was, from the 1700s, some of them. And you'd go to some of these old, in Boston, we did a neat tour of old Boston.
Wave since my
And,
granddaughter.
one of the earlier cities. And some of, the history books and some of the guys you've heard of, and some of the founding fathers and so forth.
Yeah.
In the Revolution and stuff, they had the cemeteries there.
He'll buy books and he'll buy your cleaner. You won't have to call it to get that back.
Really had trouble making, some of them weren't done that well, they weren't carved out that well to start with.
Whatever you brought, we will buy that.
Thank you. This is really the neat one.
Yeah.
There's 1, 2, 3. This isn't it, but there's 3 of these books. And the third one I finally did myself because I was taking.
Here you go.
Oh, okay, that's his
Bear
field.
client or
It's just
the other end.
off to the edge of his field.
Thank you. Did that lady, is she gonna leave with the laser printer? Pointer?
Well, I don't.
Yeah, that would be nice to have that. This is a back scratcher.
It is. It is. So, yeah, he,
Well, I guess
yeah,
she's
he
talking.
won.
He's gonna talk. She's gonna.
Well, I think there's.
Well, that's one of these right here.
Okay, that one goes with that one?
Yeah, and this one, here comes with this one.
Okay. Yeah.
We call that meat and potatoes. Meat and potatoes right there. That's
Well,
the one.
he's one of these people who will dissect it all,
Sure.
and I said, I told him that we looked at the black book here that day, yesterday, and I said,
Now, just curious, what did you think of it?
this?
Yeah.
I enjoyed it when
Okay,
I
good.
saw it. I didn't read it word for
No, I
word,
didn't
but I
expect
mean,
you to.
it looked like it was put together in well order, and it looked like it was,
Did it answer some of your questions?
yes, it
Good.
did. There's a couple things, this is what I get concerned with.
I have researched that, I don't think I wrote an
Scouts
article,
having to help.
but they might have
Jeez.
used, it's
20 and 30 of them show up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just climb the wall.
That's a neat.
Yeah, but it's like, okay guys, this is what you're gonna need to do, this is what you're gonna have to worry about.
I
Yeah, yeah.
sure remember,
We'll see.
they were Cub Scouts that showed up. They were young, but they came with hatchets and machetes and all that. My God.
But they wouldn't have found them if they weren't making an interstate.
My
Digging
son.
it. So there's people buried out there.
Black here.
He did everything but
In
not
Black
his.
here, they didn't know if it was Indian, Portuguese, Spanish. Then they thought it was
These
Spanish.
are pretty similar ones.
Every year he'd go to camp in summer. Every year he'd sharpen his knife, and every year that first night would get called.
So it was actually a
It was so funny because it was just like,
They're pretty sure those
after about 6 or 7 years, we
Oh,
finally
they
said,
had crosses.
They're pretty sure those are Jesuit, but
Yeah.
they don't really have.
Well, but things like that happen. I know what, they cut themselves.
how he did it.
Anything else? It's the top right.
Okay.
And all they did
Oh,
was.
great.
You don't want to use my bear claw. I think my feelings are hurt.
That's a back scratcher. I gotta figure this out.
Oh, it's a bottom.